But we were able to build over this year over year with different elements. And it played into our hand that there are some celebrities with dad bods out there who, over the years, so that media would kind of connect the dots for us, without our involvement there of saying, just different celebrities in pop culture who have a dad bod.
Your business's success depends on relationships with customers, relationships with employees, and relationships with stakeholders. What do they all have in common? They're all human. Because no matter if your business is B2B or B2C, it's really H to H, human to human. Welcome to the Human Connection Podcast. I'm your host, Karl Pontau. Each week I'll bring you stories, insights, and practical advice from experts that you can apply to your growing company and daily life. This week I'm excited to connect with Adam Belmont. Adam brings more than 15 years of PR experience in support of consumer brands across products and services entering the US. Adam is a seasoned public relations and communications executive who has worked with many global and national consumer brands across a wide variety of verticals, including technology, health and wellness, retail, restaurant, CPG, home, youth enrichment, and tourism, among others. He has spent his career at 2 top NYC-based PR agencies, including a 7-year stint at Ogilvy. Adam helps brands bring scroll-stopping creative campaigns to life in such a way that consumers experience the aha moment, that light bulb going off where they just get who the brand is and why they are. His expertise runs deep across consumer, lifestyle, and executive communications, ownable brand moments, national and 360 media campaigns, product and service launches, trend spotting, and much more. Congrats on creating aha moments, and welcome to the Human Connection Podcast.
Thanks, Karl. Great to be here. Great to talk with you. I think, you know what, that was a very kind intro, and I think I'm going to take that and play it back every time I enter a new room around the house.
Well, hopefully people appreciate that, and I love the idea of creating aha moments, and I want to ask you, and going to get started this conversation with, what does it take to create an aha moment in a customer?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think just to take a step back, an aha moment that everybody knows what that feels like. It's relatable. It's when you just get something. And I think it's important for brands to distill what's most important they want to communicate into really an aha moment that people just get right away. I found that concepts that require a lot of explanation, just don't jive with people. So the simpler you make it, where people just say, oh, I get that. I think of this when I see this campaign, I think of this brand, or when I have this feeling, I think of this brand. So, I think it's really just finding that nugget that connects a brand to a consumer, just in a really digestible way.
Yeah, I think I get that its simplicity is a key aspect of it, but I think a lot of companies struggle with, they make it so simple, or they make it simple, but it still doesn't have the aha moment because they leave out valuable information, or like it's not a relatable message to their audience. And so I think there's this, my guess is, I'd love for you to confirm this or deny it, that you have to make it simple, but in the parts you leave behind have to resonate the right way with your audience. Otherwise, it's simple, but they go, I don't understand it, and then it still fails.
Sure. Yeah, I agree with that. So happy to confirm that. But I think also it's about authenticity, brand authenticity. There's a lot of things you can say that anyone can say that is simple. But if it's not true to the brand voice, if it's not true to what the brand is all about, then it'll fall flat, even if it's a good message, right? So I think it's important and authenticity is not a new concept. It's not something that, it's something that everybody talks about when it comes to brands, but I think it's because it's true. And it really has a place in the way that brands need to keep that in mind. And the way that if brands can communicate with authentically, they'll be able to connect with their target consumers authentically too.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That the message has to fit with the brand's positioning and their messaging, or like who they are as a company. So I'd love to kind of get an example of a time you've created some of these aha moments for a client. What are some of the success stories you can share?
Sure, yeah, happy to. I think one client that comes to mind is Planet Fitness. If you're unfamiliar, it's one of the biggest gym chains in the US and abroad, really. There's a couple thousand. There's like a different location on every street corner, basically. But it's, if you're ever heard of it, it's $10 a month, basically, a $10 a month gym membership. And it's really open to everybody. So it's really inclusive. They have a judgment-free zone. But the interesting part is that every other gym brand out there talks about six-pack abs, talks about getting cut for summer, this, that, and the other. And Planet Fitness is a brand of inclusivity and, not having judgment of other people. So we did some consumer research and surveys and whatnot. We can get into that as well, but found that there is a whole dad bod movement out there. And this has been going on for years now, but really Planet Fitness, kind of planted the pole here in terms of realizing where people are in their fitness journey and whatnot, where people are with their body comfort, body shape, and the whole concept of body shaming too. That's been prevalent in culture for a number of years now. So we really uncovered what people are thinking about, and we did some consumer research really to understand that people with a dad bod have a lot of positive attributes that people recognize, and it's only that kind of white space that a gym brand of inclusivity can speak to. So every other brand out there is talking about getting the washboard abs and this, that, and the other, and losing 10 pounds in 10 days. So we were able to use the white space of nobody goes the other direction of talking about how people really are. So we were able to use that and connect with people, and it connected with media, connected with consumers. We did a campaign over a number of years about the dad bod, releasing different survey insights and how, guys with dad bods make better fathers because they're more involved with their families, for example. And a lot of other different aspects to it. But we were able to build over this year over year with different elements. And it played into our hand that there are some celebrities with dad bods out there who, over the years, so that media would kind of connect the dots for us, without our involvement there of saying, just different celebrities in pop culture who have a dad bod. Planet Fitness just put out this dad bod survey and insights and whatever, and it kind of bridged them together. But I think that's something that allowed everybody to hang on to and kind of use that as kind of a tentpole campaign for multiple years going.
And so I can see how that message, when it contrasts so starkly with what everyone else is doing, would be very successful because there's so much difference in the messaging, and it also speaks to what the reality of more of what people are looking for and they can reasonably achieve. And so what was the impact of over the years? What did you see with the impact of the Planet Fitness's growth?
I think it really comes down to just the brand association and the halo effect. I mean, we were able to build on this year over year. We ended up doing a dad bod calendar a different year, where we were able to show everyday dad movements, whether it's carrying luggage through the airport or carrying kids through the amusement park, and did a dad bod calendar of these different things that everyday dads do. So we really just created an association that people understand over the years, that Planet Fitness is welcoming. They understand me or the dad bod in my life. And so it was just able to create that brand recognition and brand association with acceptance and inclusivity.
Yeah, I can also just see how the aha moment for the consumer is that if they're when you speak to, hey, your goals are to be a good father, to take care of your kids, to be able to do these, like I said, the everyday dad activities, that makes them realize that, oh, this is the gym I should go to be better at these sorts of daily activities. They're not dreaming of being able to like bench press like 500 pounds. They want to be able to carry their kids through Disneyland or whatever, or be able to take them on a vacation and the things that it does a great job of aligning the outcomes that you're offering them with the values and the things they care about. And it makes attracting the audience way easier because you're showing that, hey, we understand that you care about these things. We'll help you get what you want for just $10 a month.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think brands lose when they talk about themselves. If you're not meeting the consumers where they are, you lose. So you really need to not think about what a brand is doing, or the newest machines that they have, or how many new free weights they have and whatnot, or the size of the fitness center in this case. So it's really about what is the everyday person caring about. And I think that's really the most important. What is keeping them up at night that we can help solve?
Yeah, I 100% agree that it's about meeting customers where they are. I think a lot of companies fail at that. And I could tell from when you told the story that you started with a lot of research and listening and asking questions of your customer base, and also and researching what other competitors were doing. And so if someone is thinking, oh my gosh, I haven't done enough research, I need to do more, I need to make sure I'm listening to my audience better. What is something that you did during the research process that really made it so effective? What's kind of like a tip that someone could take and apply to their own business?
Absolutely. I think national surveys are really important. And so we were able to, and this is not just specific to this brand and past client of mine, this is related to any brand out there who can put research together. So it's really important, to conduct a national survey where you can ask questions that are representative of Americans in this case. So a nationally, significant sample of about 1,000 or more people. And also, a lot of brands sometimes make the mistake about putting out their own survey with SurveyMonkey and just asking people and this or that. So I think that's a mistake, and that's not really something that media especially care about. I think it's really a lot more effective to work with like a survey partner, a trusted survey partner, a third party resource who can conduct a survey on your behalf and ask the questions and find out what you're looking for, but have it not come from the brand where there's an assumed bias about the data points and whatnot. So I think it's important both to obtain a nationally significant sample amongst your target audience, and also to work with a survey partner, trusted survey partner, so that it's not coming from the brand itself where everyone would just say, oh, of course they would say that.
Yeah, I think there's definitely having the outside support, so someone who can handle it and also be probably even like realize other questions that you should be asking, or be able to have that outside perspective so that there's less of the unconscious bias from the people asking the questions, and also the perceived bias when people are answering questions that come directly from a company. It's like, what do you think of us? It's like, well, that's definitely can be skewing the data if there's some bias there. But I think it's interesting with those surveys. What are some of the questions that you find really help? Because I know from the brain science perspective, people make decisions with a different part of their brain than they use when they answer surveys about why they made a decision.
Hmm.
And so with these national surveys, how deep do you go on and truly uncover like the real motivators? What's some of the questions that you ask? How deep do you kind of delve into their responses when you're doing these sort of surveys, especially because it's on a national level?
Yeah, and you can ask one question, you can ask two questions, or I've done surveys where you ask 20 questions among the same sample. So it really depends, and I don't think that and survey partners out there, and certainly those I work with, remove any bias in terms of, they have the screening questions and whatnot of just to kind of remove any of those unwanted variables to make sure that who you're reaching is really are legitimate people who are relevant to what you're asking about. And I think also it's important to ask questions that are about them, and again, not about a brand or not about market research that is specific to the company in question, and really just asking people about their habits, asking people when they work out during the day, and just things that they don't know where you're gonna take those types of insights, but really just asking them about how they feel and what they think about whatever topic it is. It's questions that are all easy to answer in that regard, so.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. And I appreciate you clarifying, because it's when people can tell it's about, they're trying to, whoever's asking the question is trying to ascertain buying behavior, that kind of can skew the information. So I like that you clarified that you're asking questions that are just more about getting to know the daily life or the preferences of your audience, and not about necessarily their relationship with any particular business. That makes a lot of sense. That'll help the data be more accurate and valuable, because it's is less of a slant or less bias involved. That makes a lot of sense.
Yes, and also more interesting. The last thing that media want to cover is a brand talking about itself, especially in the B2C space. So really, the more you can anchor it focused on something that is outside of your brand's area of focus, just creates a lot of runway and opportunity.
So it sounds, and I think I can see how, the from the PR standpoint, a brand just trying to toot their own horn does not get media companies all hot and bothered, because that's basically just like running an ad for them. So I think it's if there's a company out there that's looking for someone to run a survey for them, which one a company would be a good fit for them to work with? Kind of what are some of the criteria that you'd say people should be looking for when they're picking a survey company to work with?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good ones out there. I have ones that I specifically work with, but I think ones who kind of can show the receipts, so that we as PR professionals can show those receipts to the media in terms of the methodology, in terms of showing that there's a sound approach here. It was, here's the margin of error. Here's the number of people who were surveyed. Here's the ages of those surveyed. Is it general population of 18 and up? Or is it specifically parents? Or is it specifically a certain age group? So really, it's just being able to back up your insights, instead of just saying, you can lead with the amazing stat. You should lead with whatever your, 95% of, Americans think this crazy thing that you would never expect. That's awesome. As long as you have the methodology down below that you can share, and even if media don't report specifically on the methodology, for example, they at least know that it's legitimate and it came from a reputable source.
Cool. So that makes total sense. And so if someone has more questions and wants to get to connect with you, what's the best place to find you online?
Yeah, LinkedIn. LinkedIn is where I'm most active, and so feel free to connect with me there. Slide in my DMs, whatever is easiest for you. All
right. Well, thank you so much for connecting with me today, Adam. If you enjoyed this episode of the Human Connection podcast, please leave a review, and share it. If you'd like to connect with myself or Adam, check out the links in the show notes. And remember, no matter if your business is B2B or B2C, it's really H to H, human to human. Happy connecting.
Thanks, Karl. Appreciate it.